Broadcasting live from an undisclosed location. This is the TCMMA podcast with your host, Chris Cross.
Whoa!
Dana White privilege.
Let's go, baby! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go, baby!
Dana White privilege. Privilege. Privilege.
Welcome to the TCMMA podcast. It's your boy Chris Cross checking in. And what a wild night of fighting last night at UFC Louisville, including 5 straight finishes to end the night. So we're going to be getting into that. But let's circle the UFC news first and foremost. Number 1, as Aradina Mavov. Referee made the right decision in TKO win over Jared Cannonier at UFC Louisville. That's according to Mavov in the post-fight press conference. More on that in a moment. I don't know. Jason Herzog, the referee, responded to the controversial stoppage saying, I need to reevaluate. So he'll have to get back and look at tape, saying he's heard from enough people. That means he needs to go back and reevaluate the tape. Also, UFC chief Dana White tells Fox News that Trump has more heart than the greatest fighters of all time. That's a wild and crazy statement to make, but that's what he's saying. Also, Bruno Ferreira stuns everyone with a spinning back elbow KO in UFC history. And we got that one for you as well, at least a reaction. That was a wild finish. Michael Chandler finally confirms Conor McGregor fight at UFC 303 is on after press conference cancellation. So, you know, people still going back and forth on what caused that cancellation. If the fight's still on, well, finally Chandler says yes, the fight is in fact still on. So that's good news. Also, Robert Whittaker in top form, prime for a wrestling heavy clash against Khamzat Chimaev at UFC Fight Night, aka UFC Saudi Arabia. So those are the main topics today. But first and foremost, we got to get into the stoppage last night. A bad stoppage in the eyes of many, right? I mean, you know, you had Cannonier, it seemed, was winning the fight at that point in time, and then all of a sudden you get the bad stoppage. That left everybody in wonder as to what could have happened. But was Cannonier done anyway? I don't know. But let's look at last night's reaction to this fight. Nice, Amavov, I hear you. So you got one weighing in saying, Cannonier's in trouble. Oh, boy. And I was just going to say, you got some people saying 29-28 Amavov. Cannonier's in a little bit of trouble here. Oh, boy. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, he lands a big right, but... And that's it. He stopped the fight. What? Why did he stop the fight, bro? Wow. That's a terrible stoppage. One of the worst I've ever seen. And he's trying to convince Cannonier, but that was not even close to what should be a stoppage after going... Come on, man. That's bullcrap, man. People are going to be talking about this. Terrible stoppage. And I'm sure Dana White will say that in the post-fight press conference if we see him. Terrible stoppage. We'll see the replay. I mean, this fight's a wrap. Okay, so he lands the big right. And Cannonier's out on his feet a little bit. He's kind of, you know, dancing around. But he's running toward the fence to, you know, give himself a second. Then he resets. Takes another right. Same thing. Okay. Yeah, and he's clearly affected. But he's running to get out of dodge to give himself a second. But I want to see when the ref actually stopped it. What's he seeing here? Because Cannonier just landed a big right and it took a left. Are you serious? Yeah, the crowd's... This is terrible stoppage. Absolutely terrible. And I hate to see that for Jason Herzog because I like him, but this is not the setting where you want to stop it early. Wow. Cannonier can't believe it. He's going to fall to 17-7, but Amavov's going to get the win to move to 14-4 here. Unreal. And it was 61-60 Amavov. It was really starting to come on. I mean, but it's a shame we don't get to see a true finish here. 51-37 head strikes. Jared Cannonier had a lot of control, 6 minutes versus 1 minute, so it's always the possibility he could have shot in for the takedown to buy himself some time, but we don't know what would happen. But Amavov gets the win. He's going to put himself like in that top 5 figure area in the middleweight division. So big win for Amavov. I disagree with the stoppage, but it is what it is here. Middleweight division, UFC Louisville. Yeah, so it is what it is. Bad stoppage, but big win for Nassourdine Imavov. Maybe he cruises on to victory anyway, and Herzog has to stop the fight later. In the chat room, Kenneth Bruner in early saying, bad stoppage. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it was a really bad stoppage, and it just leaves you in doubt. Like, we don't know what would have happened. Maybe Cannonier loses that round, but comes back and wins the 5th and wins a decision. I mean, we just don't know. I mean, you can make the case that Cannonier was up 2-1 heading into that round. So it's just a rough situation. Herzog saying he needs to reevaluate the fight, right? It means he needs to watch the tape once again. So that's what happened last night. We'll get into the picks and everything, how we finished last night, but we fell in the main event. That's not good at all. So Bruno Ferreira stunned everyone last night with 8 spinning back elbow in UFC history, and what a finish that was. I mean, it was incredible to see. He was clearly winning the fight up until that point as well, and it seemed like he could finish at any time, and this is the way it sounded last night. Ferreira's got him hurt. Stoltzfus is backing up, and man, this guy's taking it, and he's still going. You got to give it to Dustin Stoltzfus. 30 seconds left in round 1. Crowd's going crazy. And he takes a knee and another right by Ferreira. Look at this. Stoltzfus is coming back now. And these guys are going at it, man. Crowd on their feet. And all of a sudden we broke the chain of all the decisions in a row. And here we go. Oh, Stoltzfus stuck in the corner. Spinning back fist. Woohoo! And he's got to jump in and he stops it. And Stoltzfus gets up and starts moving around, but he's not arguing it. He knows. He was hanging on. And Bruno Ferreira does it again. Another first-round finish to move to 12-1. The Brazilian looked great here. And he's on his knees letting out a roar. So big win for Ferreira with 8 seconds left in the round. He's up 26-12 in significant strikes. And he gave up a takedown but got out of it, and the crowd's loving it, man. Finally, we get some KOs once again here in the middleweight division at UFC Louisville. Yeah, so it's credited as a spinning back elbow, and only the 8th in UFC history. So incredible win for Bruno Ferreira. Another incredible win as the decision streak was broken up big time last night with 5 straight finishes. A lot of finishes last night at the end of the day. It wasn't looking good in fight 5, and all of a sudden 5 in a row, including Raul Rosas Jr., the 19-year-old phenom. Check this out. And now Tercios is looking to try to stand up. Rosas Jr. still has the back. And Tercios goes right back to the ground. And we'll see if Rosas Jr. can go to work here. Love to see this guy get a finish. Ooh. Tercios has it. Oh, this time he's got it locked, but just like before, it's not low. Oh, boy, this is tight, though. This is absolutely tight. It's not even underneath, but I could very easily see Tercios tapping here as they roll around. Oh, it's tight. Yeah, this is not good. Tercios is going to have to tap. He taps, and that's it. Raul Rosas Jr. gets the win. That's what I'm talking about. And that was a good battle against a good fighter in Ricky Tercios. And he's going to jump on top of the octagon. And I don't see any officials trying to talk him down, which is a good thing. Maybe Dana White got to those guys. Beautiful. But Raul Rosas Jr., if I can say his name right, has the crowd amped up as he sits on top of the octagon fence. And that'll do it here. First fight is done. And we need to run the table here. We're doing it right now. Got the first one. Raul Rosas Jr., the 19-year-old phenom, moves to 9-1 here in the bantamweight division at UFC Louisville. Yeah, so Raul Rosas Jr. is back in a big way. After suffering a loss against Christian Rodriguez, he's come back and won a couple fights now, so he's looking good. You know, and he's just young. He's 18 years old. 18 years old taking on a 32-year-old in Christian Rodriguez. That's what led to the loss. And he just controlled Rosas in that fight. But we got to start looking at him on the dude list again. And it's not a pound-for-pound ranking system. It's a little bit of it is what you think is going to happen in the future. That's why Khamzat's won. Raul Rosas Jr. is certainly the future, and he deserves to be in the top 20. So we'll have to reevaluate that in short order. Also, Dominic Reyes got the big finish, and he was pumped up. So at the end of the night, this is the way it looked. 7-7 on the night. Unfortunately, we lose Cannonier at the top to fall to 10-9 in the main events. You see, we started out 0-3, then we're to 1-4, and then we run off 3 in a row. So we're back to 4-4, and it led to a wild final 6 fights where we almost got to 8-6 after starting 0-3. But it didn't happen. 7-7 on the night, 142-94 on the year. That's still respectable, but the main event has been a struggle this year, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just being real with you. The main event has been a struggle, and just like last night, we've lost fights in odd ways, like an early stoppage. So that's why you get that reaction. So UFC Louisville is done. UFC Vegas 93 on deck. We'll be back tomorrow with all those, several of those predictions. Please believe it. Now, as we continue, UFC chief Dana White tells Fox News that Trump has more heart than the greatest fighters of all time. And that's an interesting statement coming from a guy who's a fight fan, right? He knows the heart of these fighters, and he's saying Trump has more heart. It's crazy. I mean, Trump's not in there fighting in the cage, but he's out there fighting in the streets, I guess you could say. And that's what leads Dana White to say that. And obviously, Dana White is a huge Trump supporter. He comes to UFC events. He's a big fight fan. And, of course, Trump's been in the news like crazy lately. Michael Chandler finally confirms McGregor fight at UFC 303 despite the press conference cancellation. So you remember last week, everybody was talking about, are these guys still going to fight? Is this going to happen? Of course, I told you yes, but, we went along with the speculation as well. I mean, we're going to deliver you the news, but the bottom line is these guys are fighting. McGregor cannot pull out now. There's too much at risk. Regardless if only one thing could stop this fight, or two things. That's an injury and a failed drug test. Neither one of those seem to be the case. The other problem could have been a contract dispute. But as I said, they would get that worked out. And the bottom line is this fight is happening, so everybody can rest easy knowing that this fight is coming up. Robert Whittaker in top form, primed for a wrestling-heavy clash against Khamzat Chimaev at UFC Saudi Arabia, a.k.a. UFC Fight Night. And I'm really interested in this fight for obvious reasons. But I'm not so sure that Khamzat's going to come out wrestle heavy. I think he's going to come out and try to land a big KO in the first round. Now, the only thing that makes that also possibly not happen is that Khamzat doesn't want to mess with a striking Robert Whittaker, right? If he feels like he can take him down at will like he did with Usman, he'll go that route, It was a good game plan against Usman. Performed really well until the injury, and then he looked rough the next 2 rounds. He can't afford to get injured in the first round in a 5-round fight with Whittaker, though. But what's the chances of that happening? I mean, it's possible. But sometimes these guys don't look great, like Colby Covington against Leon Edwards, right? And then you find out later, okay, they had an injury. That's why they didn't look good. But Khamzat, right, injured, still wins the fight. And everyone can say what they want. Oh, he didn't look great against Usman or Burns or whatever. Well, it is what it is. Now we got Robert Whittaker. And when he beats him, no matter how he beats him, you're going to have to come to recognize that Khamzat is the future. And it's time to start putting him in the title conversation. Everyone swore after the Usman fight he's guaranteed a title fight. No, he wasn't guaranteed a title fight. There was some mixing of words by Dana White in the UFC, like a title eliminator. I mean, every fight's a title eliminator. If you lose, not many guys fight for the title coming off a loss. So almost every fight is a title eliminator. So that's the way that story goes. And we're now less than 2 weeks away from Khamzat Chimaev's return. And I cannot wait. Let's just get past this week, a flyweight main event. I know, a little boring, right, in terms of what people want to see. But the bottom line is we get a big fight with Khamzat the following week, so we'll do what we got to do. Kenneth Bruner in the chat says Rosas Jr. is a likely future champ, in my opinion. I think so too, and that's why we got to put him on the dude list. King Terzi, listen to me, and you are the biggest Chimaev fans. Don't overthink this. We already won, bro. Yeah. No reason to overthink it, but we got to talk about all the topics and things like that. I mean, yeah, Khamzat's winning the fight. Chimaev by any way he wants. Exactly. And I think that's why, Robert Whittaker's trying to talk to him about the wrestling thing and trying to lure him into a striking battle. And I don't really think it matters. I hope Khamzat just goes in there against a striking Whittaker and just floors him. I hope he just goes in there and forget the takedowns, right? Now, if takedowns win the fight, fine. But that's a lot of control time for 5 rounds. Khamzat's got to be looking to go in there and forget about the gas tank right now. Trying to prove you can go 5 rounds. If you have to one day, fine. But there's no need to prove anything. All you got to do is go in there and get a win and jump your ranking up into the top 3 or 4. And although that happened in the welterweight division, he had trouble making weight. So that wasn't realistic. So he got to 2 or 3. And then it's like, okay, you're going to make him fight another fight. You're going to make him fight Nate Diaz, who was unranked at the time. And he's a number 3 contender. It's just ridiculous. I mean, Khamzat was being used, and I'm glad he didn't make weight for that fight, regardless of what anyone else thinks. Because Khamzat's not someone that should be used. Steve Michael Reynolds says, Whittaker Ham can jump Strickland in line and get the next title shot. If you get a big win, right? Because of Mavov last night, and all these fights in the middleweight division this month is crazy. But maybe because you don't get an exciting finish, people are like, well, Cannonier could have won that fight. Sean Strickland he dominated Paulo Costa, but he didn't get a finish. He just cruised to victory. So it's very possible. But I think this is why you haven't seen Duplessis and Adesanya announced yet. I think the UFC is going to sit around and wait and see how all these middleweight fights take place. And if Khamzat goes in there and floors Whittaker in the first round, which is why I'm hoping he's not trying to get to a 5-round fight to prove he's got a gas tank. If he floors him in the first round, he could fight for the title. It's very possible. I don't think that would happen, but you never know. I mean, how's he going to jump Adesanya and Strickland, who lost by split decision? We'll see. Werewolf MMA. Chimaev does what he wants. All these fighters have to play his game. That's why he is the alpha. Yeah, no doubt about it. Bruner. Khamzat is going to unload and finish him within the first round. And that's what I hope too. Like, don't go in there thinking, oh, it's a 5-round fight. I got to be prepared to go 5. It's only a 5-round fight if you let it go 5 rounds. You can go in there and get a finish right away if you want. MMA says Khamzat will never play that game, bro. He goes right after these guys. Every single fight, he shoots for takedown 10 seconds in. Yep. Except against Gerald Meerschaert, who he floored in 17 seconds. But yeah, against most other fighters, he's going to go in for the takedown. And why wouldn't he? I mean, if you can go in there and take Usman down for an entire round, then he's got one of the best takedown defenses in the world as a fighter. What makes you think he can't take down anybody at will? He can. But sometimes you got to go in there and just beat a guy and KO him to make a statement because you want to fight for the title. Mr. Softy MMA. I like all these different MMA names. Khamzat already said he's taking him down instantly. I think, but these are a game of words. This is why I'm making the prediction that Khamzat gets the first round KO. I think this is a game of words. Whittaker's aware of that. And a couple feints, Khamzat gets set up and a couple feints, like he's going to take him down and boom, pop to right. I'm telling you, man, don't be surprised. Bruner says he's back with Andreas Michel, his OG coach too. All that stuff is good. See, I'm not even aware of that. So that's a good take there. And all these things are just in favor of Khamzat. Like, if they're only going to let you fight once a year, you got to make a statement. And you got to go in there and get the big finish early in this fight. But listen, man, we wanted to recap last night. Got a long week ahead. We got Vegas 93 previews and predictions on tomorrow's podcast. And we got 2 more this week. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of storylines coming. A lot of interest in Khamzat Chimaev. As I've seen in the views of some of our videos, even older ones all of a sudden, boom, are popping up. Because it's beginning, right? It's beginning. People are starting to search his name. We're getting views, and that's not what's important. I'm just letting you know that the interest in Khamzat Chimaev is escalating very quickly. And as we go through this week, and especially as we get through Saturday at the Apex Center in Vegas, and then we roll into Saudi Arabia, it's going to be a wild, wild week. And I cannot wait, man. I cannot wait. We'll be here every day bringing you the updated news and information leading up to that fight. And the watch party for that is going to be wild. And it's going to be in the middle of the day. So I'm probably going to have kids running around. I'm probably going to have dogs barking. But it doesn't matter, like, what's going on around me. I'm going to be focused on that fight like it's a darn Super Bowl. Please believe it. But for now, this is your boy Chris Cross. Hope y'all enjoyed the podcast. Please hit the like button. Leave a comment. Make sure if you haven't subscribed to the channel, which a lot of you in the chat room have, make sure you subscribe to the channel. For now, this is your boy Chris Cross. Have a great day and God bless. As always, peace.